Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. For the past long time, I have been working my little batootie off, trying to beat the Battle Cats Empire of Cats Chapter 1. And it's been, it's been pretty painful, to be honest. So I then thought, well, I don't really want to keep this suffering just to myself. I want to give it to some of you. And so that's basically the culmination of this video. So have fun, I suppose. Our journey began in the Squid Game funny section, where all of our strategic input amounted to only clicking two things. One of which was a cat which we could use to fight the dogs, unsurprisingly. You know, battle cats and all that. And another was this little guy at the bottom left, who is also known as the worker cat. Now, by upgrading him and spending some money on him, he basically gives us more money later on. So he's basically the world's greatest investment. We cleared Korea and we got 30 cat food and a cat ticket, with cat tickets functioning as giving you access to one of these little ball thingies, which can give you stuff, although we can't bloody use it yet. We did get a new cat called Tank Cat, although he looks more like a pill than a tank, I'm going to be honest here. And then I upgraded Cat Energy, as that way we get more energy and then we can play for longer, because every single free-to-play mobile game needs energy apparently. I mean, it works, I guess. We later went on to attack the famous Mongolian candy floss factories. Yeah, in case you hadn't figured it out already by the fact that we're sending cats to their death over and over and over and over again, this game's kind of weird, but you just sort of have to learn to embrace it. Kind of like getting a tooth pulled, I suppose. We repeatedly steamrolled the next few levels, although I was grinding the ones I had already completed to get more stuff, so it may have been a lot more easy than it was supposed to be. Some of this stuff is called XP. Now, this isn't some Raid, Shadow Legends sponsorship or anything. We do need XP though for leveling up cats, not champions, thank you. But the better stuff is called treasure. Now, treasure is really, really useful, as if you get all of the required treasures in a set, then you get a bonus like making money faster or having stronger cats. And the quality of the treasures which you have in the set make the bonus better. And trust me when I say that these are downright necessary later on. We then went on a visit to the new home of John Cena.
早上好，中国！现在我有冰淇淋，我很喜欢冰淇淋。
And we acquired the enforcer of the CCP, the Axe Cat. And then I did what China wished they could do, and stole Mongolia's treasure of the superior portable tent. Phew, now we can go camping. I don't know what we would have done without that, guys. We then moved to Thailand. And it's around this stage where you really can't get away with only upgrading your energy anymore, but you also need to upgrade your worker cat so that you can just spam everything, your actual cat levels so that your cats will be better. Basically, just stop upgrading your energy at this point, or at least not only your energy, maybe like one energy upgrade, then 2 everything else upgrades, and you should be alright. Alright, I feel like I've gone through the basic principles of the game now, and to be honest, not too much happens over the next few levels, so I'll try and, speed run talking about them until we actually get to something interesting. So, drug place.
Cocaine. No. Flour.
Went on holiday in the Philippines, stole their bananas, got this cat who looks like a poorly stretched JPEG of a normal cat, grinded some of the older levels for XP, and then we went to the first challenging level in the game. Japan.
2 to the 1, 1 to the 3. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass.
Believe it or not, this country isn't all anime and paedophilia. They have one of the strongest military weapons in the known universe, a hippo. This means that we have to slowly upgrade our worker cat at the beginning, using weaker cats to avoid pushing up too far, save up money, and then make a large assault all at once. Now, the battle began well enough. We used a single cat to get more money, followed by a cat cannon to prevent them from reaching our base, although I accidentally sent out too many cats and we pushed up to their base way further than I would have liked. But right after we hit the base, the battle against the hippo really began. We then had to spam our gross cat because it could outrange the hippo, and then we had to send out both our basic cat and our tank cat to soak up the hippo's devastating blows. Although this was not enough. He actually managed to break through the initial defense of our army, and while I was expecting him to die, he just didn't. He just kept pushing. But then, just as he was about to kill all of our big attackers, rendering us almost completely defenseless, the beast fell. With Japan right royally Hiroshimaed, we unlocked a bunch of stuff, although the main thing of relevance right now is the cat capsule machines. And you know what that means? Gambling time, baby! The normal capsule, also known as the silver one, gives you basic upgrades and the base upgrades. It's useful, but also not terribly interesting. But the rare cat capsule, oh my god. This bad boy is bussin' as hell. Just let me explain to you how good this thing is, so... Right. Yes, okay. I've been told that I must save these rare commodities for a certain special occasion called Uberfest, which I will elaborate upon later, and I'll also explain why the rare cat capsule is so good then. I then spent 20 painstakingly long minutes trying really hard to get some treasures, doing the same levels over and over again. The stench of boredom hang over me like a hangover. And I got absolute jack shit. Moving on to Australia, massacring koalas and starting forest fires as we bounded through the desert. Later, waffle stomping all over the ice-breathing dragons of Singapore. But, hold on. It seems like, in the Maldives, things actually get interesting. Ugh, I don't like where this is going. Things started off normal enough, right? Getting defensive cats and a couple of offensive ones. But when I hit the base at Red Pig? Alright, so I've just done a little bit of research, and just to prevent all of you nerds from losing your minds, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on the different enemy types, which I reckon we might see in either this video or the next one. Hello class, welcome to Battle Cats Enemies 101. Red enemies like this little piggy here move fast, hit hard, and have way more health than their uncoloured counterparts. Whereas floating enemies like this... well... they float. They probably have more health or damage or something like that, but I found it really hard to get any information on if them floating actually changed them in any way. But black enemies, not to be racist or anything, but black enemies go and demolish the competition. Fast attack rate, really strong attacks, high health, but oh, it's alright because on the wiki it says that they have poor range. Now we're saved. Metal enemies. Oh my god, these things could be absolutely infuriating, as to my previous playthrough. But I also adore their design. So basically, these things have ridiculously high defense. So high, in fact, that any attack from literally anything in the game is reduced to dealing 1 damage. So basically the Dungeon Guardian from Terraria. Which means that really strong units, which have a really strong attack, but they attack not as often, are pretty useless. But you get units which attack really quickly, or loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of rubbish ones, which just do 1 damage over and over again, bah, 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 are the most effective strategies against them. But What if you don't have the time to wait for something to die just by doing 1 damage to it over and over and over again? Well then, class, take all of that clever gameplay design that you've been learning up to this point and throw it all out the window, because it doesn't matter anymore with the introduction of critical hitters. Because critical hits completely ignore the defensive metal enemies, so you can do massive damage to them. And usually the crits won't happen all too often, but they still happen often enough to absolutely waffle stomp the competition of metal enemies. And after grinding for more treasures, beating Nepal, and trying and failing to watch an advert to get me more energy, I saw a new stage which gave me a nifty little idea. For you see, this stage named Meatless Wieners not only pissed off Callum's Corner,
I don't drink soy, I take milk, you queer,
but also gave us a thing called lucky tickets, and these lucky tickets can give you really useful things, such as XP, power-ups, or maybe lil cats, who are basically just smaller versions of the basic cats, but I like them because they're cute, and the very small little cat, just the basic one, can be really useful because it's basically just another meat shield. After beating this stage, which, to be fair, very nearly killed me because this little guy with a sign has ridiculous range and just obliterates nearly everything I put out, but we just about managed to kill him. Repeat this 2 more times, and despite the stage saying that there was a likely chance to get a lucky ticket, which, can I just say, right, you would assume that likely means that it's more likely to get the thing than not get the thing. Well, likely in this game means that there's only 1/3 of a chance, which doesn't even make sense. But anyway, repeated it 2 more times, so I should have gotten a lucky ticket. We didn't get a lucky ticket. And just in case you think that this is where my bad luck ends, then you are sorely mistaken. Now, all of this cheesed me off, so, I wanted to do something where there might be at least some levels of success. So I tried to do a stage called week-long meetings, and it started off well enough, Meat shielding, saving up money, and now, I was under the impression, silly me, that the pattern which I had been told every single time in this game, where the boss comes out relatively soon after you hit the base, would just be broken, and I just should have expected that. Because I thought the level was really easy at first. But then, oh god, the penguins attacked. They just kept on backflipping, demolishing all of our army, and we, for once, had to collect the Waffle Stomp ale. Disappointment after disappointment is what we've had today, so I just wanted some sort of comfort, which does kind of betray the thing which I said I was going to do, but due to the power of future vision, I can confirm that we do what our Supreme Leader wanted us to do anyway. Also, there was a perk to opening these tickets now actually, in that we got some lucky tickets too. So it may actually be quite good to do it now, as well as what I was planning to do before.
It wasn't. It was a really bad idea. We got the lucky tickets anyway.
And after opening these, I was, how shall I put this, more than a little miffed. Because we got a cat on a yoga ball, a cat in a bath, and a cat with some very pretty makeup. With these lucky tickets netting us an XP up, a cat CPU, and a little fish. Now, don't get me wrong, I am very much aware that the drop rate for Ubers was only 5% for each cat, meaning that we only had a 15% chance to get an Uber. But still, I really wanted an Uber. Alright, speed round 2, Electric Boogaloo. Met the penguins again. This time, they were a lot nicer. Beat the ticket stage twice more. Grinded even more. Went to Saudi Arabia and stole their oil for the motherland. Set Kenya on fire with the power of... bath guns? Maybe I shouldn't have judged bath cats so quickly then. But ladies and gentlemen, this is where things got interesting. Because after I tried to recruit those little penguins from Madagascar for their infinite power with a small embassy of tiny fish, you will never guess who I saw. Harambe! Although Harambe wasn't quite as excited to see us. In fact, he destroyed my tiny little sardine boys in a matter of seconds and pushed us quite far back, as if we were his arch nemesis. A child who went over a fence. Hell, I was actually quite scared that we were going to lose this battle because I lost it quite a bit in my old playthrough. But thankfully the zoo god stepped in and gave us the epic dub. Oh, and we also fought some penguins in South Africa. Sorry, I just thought that was worth noting for no particular reason, but hey, we got a red ticket out after this one. And I will be saving this one, okay? My self-control isn't that bad. Now, me and all the battle cats had a meeting just after this battle, which went a little something like this.
We need food, you dumb cunt.
Well, yeah, I know that, but we had a deal.
Yeah, we know. You help us conquer the world as long as there are minimal human casualties.
Well, we need to take food from somewhere, so there's going to be casualties.
Not really, mate. Plenty of you humans could do with giving some food to us, especially you heavy. Shut up!
Guys, I see all of your points. So, we'll just choose a place which has so much food, they won't notice if any of it goes missing, and nobody dies, right?
Right!
Okay then. I have the most knowledge here on humans, so I'll choose where humans have the highest surplus of food. After absolutely destroying the country of Ghana in Africa, and securing all the food we possibly could need, at no cost to them because, you know, Africa has way too much food anyway. We later went to Turkey, which was quite literally a boss rush of all the other bosses that we had fought so far. And to be honest, I may have been grinding for just a tad too long on the early stages because we're just steamrolling everyone. Also, when I went to Russia, I noticed something. Harambe wasn't shot because a child went over the fence. That's a goddamn cover-up by the government. He was actually shot because he was a Russian spy. Because I swear the amount of Winston mains here is truly shocking. And so, as the battle cats marched forward, attacking the base, we saw one of the cutest things I'd ever seen. It was just a seal who was an absolute chongoose. And it was at this point I began to think, maybe a world governed by cats, where every single other species was murdered, may not be so great. Hell, we just killed a seal and the entire population of Greece, so maybe this isn't such a great idea. Hey, Bathcat, don't you just point that thing around everywhere, you know?
One eternity later.
Hello there, everybody. Boys and girls, lads and lasses, gentlemen and ladies. What sort of a script is this? Do you want me to sound like a paedophile? Fine. Lads and lasses, yada yada yada. Please don't worry about me. Don't rebel or try to assemble an army. Because let's be honest, you don't want to be that guy who's famous for killing cats, do you? It makes you sound like a psychopath. It's a fair point. So, in conclusion, surrender to the cats so that we may kill you quickly, because quick-killed humans make more tasty cat food. So, it seems as if I'm not quite as in control of the situation as I first assumed, because they now seem to have kidnapped me and forced me to be a general for them, which isn't too great, but hey. They seem to value me enough to not kill me, which I suppose is rather generous of them. Regardless of my misfortunes, we rescued the Beanie Boys, and after testing them out, they seem alright, but not as good as I was hoping for, considering I've now been kidnapped! You bunch of furry furballs. We then moved on to the place which, despite its numerous technological advancements, has not been bothered to re-straighten one of its most famous monuments. How lazy. Also, we unlocked the ability to get Titan Cat, Although I haven't actually done this yet. Why, you may ask? Well, let me explain it to you. Because in each level we only get a certain amount of money to spend on cats, right? Meaning that it is better to spend that money on fewer cats than more worse cats, as we'll get more bang for our buck, if you know what I mean. This mentality turns out to be far more questionable than the intro to Kakegurui. So I recommend using a combination of both the better cat strategy and the more cat strategy. After breezing through the racetracks of Monaco, we went to Spain, where we get to see these really weird crocodile things. I genuinely have no clue what it is about them that freaks me out so much, but just, ugh, I don't like them. But at least we get to see Nikocado Avocado again in all of his glory. And after we're done with him, he'll be drinking mukbangs through a straw. After we sent him to the big heart attack grill in the sky, we had another problem. Because when I started hitting the base, a ridiculous amount of crocodiles came out to try and kill us. It was honestly insane, and if we didn't have Birdcat, who was our only area attacker in the loadout, we would have been so dead. But hey, after we beat Spain, France pretty much surrendered. Actually, France surrendered before we even got to them. Must just be a force of habit, I guess. Germany also followed suit, as they got a good old-fashioned dose of karma, as they got conquered for no particular reason. But Denmark was not quite as much of a pushover, because they had the famous Denmarkian war elephant. And when I say that this guy was powerful, I mean like overpowered levels of powerful. Because he outranges nearly every single one of my current cats, and one-shots most of them, and his stupid little midgets at the front mean that we can't get close to him. Wave after wave of my cats succumbed to him, but we still pushed forward until eventually the beast fell. Now, I actually learned something from this previous experience, which I don't think I've ever done before. Good God, that's depressing. But anyway, I noticed how we only had very small opportunities to try and get as much damage in as possible, because that was when the people were out the way. So we needed speedy boys to get in there and deal damage. And guess who we could win on the lucky ticket stage? That's right, a speedy boy. Now, the stage says there's an extremely small chance to get the cat, but we can do a little trolling and put a treasure radar on which guarantees that we will get him. Oh, and I also decided to pick up the guy in the week-long meeting stage using a treasure radar. Not really for any specific reason, but he could be useful at some point. You never know. Now, everyone, I am a man of culture. Hence, when I see an anime girl, it grows very tempting for me to spend my tickets for the chance to get them. Never mind the Belle Delphine face on this one. But, thankfully, the game didn't say they were femboys, and so I was able to abstain from spending a ticket. You're very welcome. To get my mind off of the pretty ladies, I decided to take myself back to my history lessons and bop Harold Hardrada right on the nose. So, do you guys remember when I said that my tactics were questionable? Well, right here in the UK is where that happened. Because the battle started off well enough, with my meat shield stalling the enemy for a while, so I could gain money. Although something went wrong. Very, very wrong. First off, the boss on this level comes out on a timer, meaning that my usual tactic of stalling works horribly, because stalling hitting the base didn't mean jack, because the boss was coming over here regardless of whether you wanted him or not. Secondly, because I had invested so much into meat shields, because my logic was if the backliners were well defended, then they wouldn't need to be strong, because a stack could be built up, and we could kill them by sheer quantity. But this doesn't work when all of your meat shields get one-tapped by this bell end. And in theory, it wouldn't really matter if all the meat shields were one-shotted, as long as they kept the elephant at bay. which they didn't because he could outrange literally everything, meaning I had to fight in a stalemate for ages. We kept on hitting both our meat shields and the backliners, and each time we only got a couple of good hits in before the elephant destroys everything. Now, just to show how long this stalemate lasted for, despite this not being a boss level, just the bit where we were all interlocked, not the whole fight itself, just the interlocked bit, took 5 whole minutes, which for a Battle Cats level this early on is really, really long. Now, I'm going to be quite honest here. After being in a stalemate for so long, I was sister shook. And I then realised that if I could barely beat the UK, then how would I be able to conquer the rest of the world? I mean, it's frankly embarrassing, to be honest. So I did all that I could in this situation, and grinded the hell out of the past stages, and managed to get 100% on the energy drink treasure, which is probably one of the more important treasures in the game, because it gives you money to buy more cats, and so, you know, more cats to kill stuff with. Hey, it finally happened. We've been allowed to spend the piss tickets. So these tickets give you really, really powerful cats, with some of the really powerful cats being called Ubers, who are way more powerful, but also have a really long cooldown. And these things are so powerful that you'll want to usually prioritize getting them. Now, that reason of the Uber reason is why I waited. Well, tried to wait for this event to roll around, because the usual Uber drop rate is a pitiful 5%, but this event gives us a whopping 9%. Yeah, okay, it isn't too great, but with this game, you take what you can get. We have 5 tickets, which makes a 45% chance. Coupled with the tickets we opened before, we have amounted a 60% chance to get an Uber. So, if you think about it, it's more likely to get one than not. And away we go! First off, we get this guy who is dummy thick. Like, Jesus Christ, I can respect the Sigma male grind set. But his ability to potentially dodge some enemies, they could be good, but just down to personal preference, I probably won't be using him because I find things based on probability to just kind of freak me out, and I'd rather just have, you know, basic stats without any chance bullcrunk. Next up is Wheelcat. I genuinely hate this guy. His range is awful. It's actually horrible. Sure, he's anti-alien, but I'd rather use, like, just a normal Legs Cat against an alien than him. I'm serious. Because at least Legs Cat won't die within 5 seconds. Now, next up is one of the best cats in the game. Salon Cat, who's basically a way stronger Legs Cat, who has an area attack, not just single attack, and stands at around the same range as Legs Cat 2. Mucho Pog. Now, Nerd Cat, I really like him too. Basically, he's an Uber. He's really expensive and has a really long cooldown. And he's simultaneously one of the best and worst cats in the game. Because on shorter stages, like literally all the ones we'll be fighting for quite some time, he will be completely useless because he doesn't do all too much damage. But in really long stages, he's amazing as he sits really far back so you can stack him up until he does loads and loads of continuous damage and barely ever dies due to how far back he is from the actual battle. And the grand finale is Fortune Teller Cat. Great. I love getting ripped off. It's honestly bloody brilliant. Now, as cool as these cats are, and they are, you know, pretty cool, they aren't really too viable right now because they're simply too expensive to buy in battle and are too expensive to upgrade using XP. So I might as well use the ones which are cheaper in both departments, at least for now. We shuffled along to Club Penguin Island. Oh, sorry. I meant to say Greenland. What the hell is this, Ponos? Father Christmas does not live in Greenland. The North Pole is in the North Pole, and Lapland is in Finland. Oh, I can feel my blood a-bubbling. Thank God global warming's going to demolish Greenland before they try and mess with Father Christmas again. Ooh, sorry for my rage there. It's just that I get rather passionate about Father Christmas and his childbearing hips. Alas, Mooseland, Pointy Lady, Broken Plain World, Jamaica, and the right drug place this time all went off largely without a hitch, because I had been very heavily investing in this little box boy, who runs really quickly, only costs 350, and does lots and lots and lots of damage, as well as being really speedy. That said, his attack rate is somewhat slow, but it's such a tiny downside that I don't really mind. But now, an inevitability for anyone who's causing any sort of international trouble. We got kidnapped and shipped straight off to Brazil. And we saw the first horrifying abomination over there. A tall woman, I meant to say a colossal moth. But actually, according to my local Brazilian correspondent, the stuff they have over there is way more terrifying than even tall women. Yeah, I'm not replacing what I said this time. Anyway, the moth's dead now, so we can leave. Alright, we're close to the end now, and I know you guys want to see the final boss, so I'll try to do the remainder relatively quickly. We punted Argentina, demolished the boxing kangaroos of Machu Picchu. Oh, they're kind of cute. Annihilated the only thing hornier than me for Astolfo. Went to the third drug place. Destroyed NASA with our very own spaceships. Had a small hiccup with the Happy Slappy Bear in Las Vegas. Destroyed Hollywood. Went to Alaska. Got attacked by buttloads of squirrels, bears, and also the moth from before. Right, we're very close to the end now, so I needed to make preparations for the final boss fight. And, as it so happened, there was another event stage going on, which gave us a cat called Reindeer Fish Cat, who I'm going to be using on the last stage because he only costs a tiny bit more than normal fish, but he gives us twice as much money when they kill something, so that we can then send out more cats. We later went to the second to last stage, Hawaii, which was actually pretty hard, and there was literally everything there. The elephant, the rhino, Harambe, Nikocado avocado, the boxing kangaroo. They were all here just having a jolly old time. But we managed to win, and this did kinda scare me for how difficult the last level would be. We, laced with fear and doubts from Hawaii, went to the moon using the technology graciously donated by kidnapped Elon Musk. But what we saw, we couldn't possibly be prepared for. A big bloody head. We, laced with fear and doubts from Hawaii, went to the moon, using technology graciously donated by a generous contributor, also known as Elon Musk, that we kidnapped. But what we saw, we couldn't possibly be prepared for. A big ol' head. So we just kinda had to keep on spamming literally every single cat we had. I don't know if it was Reindeer Fish Cat who was doing this or what, but we never ran out of money. So we could just keep spamming everything, fire on all cylinders, and this final boss level was honestly pretty disappointing. Sure, he had a lot of health, sure, he had a lot of damage, but he moved so slowly that our reinforcements could get back in to replace the old ones, and he wouldn't even move up an inch. But it did last for 13 minutes, so, you know, long equals funny, am I right? And he died. He bloody died. We've done it! We've beaten Battle Cats! Oh, thank God. And so, as the credits wash over me, like a beach massaging a sore stone, I want to take the time to say thank you for watching, even though you almost certainly didn't, and it would surprise me if anyone got to this point. I would also quite like some advice, and considering my very slow speed of editing, maybe some advice for into the future, because I'm at around that point now. Well, I'm on Empire of Cats, but yeah, you know, Into the Future's kinda close after Chapter 3. So, adios everyone. See you around.